Hey guys, this is Russ and Ashley, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today is our astrology episode. So, we are going to talk a little bit about astrology, not as experts, because we're not. Neither one of us are those. But just like the resurgence of astrology and how it has just kind of had this hold on pop culture right now. Me and you were kind of talking about this earlier, but just like 15 years ago, people hid the fact that they were into astrology. Like 15 years ago, it made you a witch or you was a weirdo if you were like really into it. And now, like
Mhm.
half of Instagram has their top three on their bio.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it didn't go very far past like a horoscope in a newspaper
Hmm.
or on a magazine or something like that. And maybe this is related, but I recently there is a documentary about Miss Cleo
Hmm. I
that I
didn't get to see
watched.
the whole thing. I saw clips and they had Raven Simone on there. And I was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with this. Why is she
Yeah,
randomly talking about Miss Cleo?
yeah, there really was no reason for her to be on there talking about Miss Cleo. It really does feel like they were like, we want to put together this story, and they just like pull really random references, and then like some people who actually knew her. But anywho, I guess it came to mind in thinking about the way that these things used to be viewed. Because even
Yeah.
though yes, at that time when that like I think there were people who did, but was like, oh Miss Cleo, and they was calling in, and people were, but it was still viewed as like a lot of people joked about it, like it was
Oh, yeah.
a joke or
It
just
wasn't something you talked about openly.
no, no, you don't tell nobody that you
Mm,
tried to that you care that you actually read your horoscope or that you
mm,
believe that maybe it's like it got something to tell you.
mm, mm. It wasn't a thing. And then now here we are where like you can ask your homegirls, like, I need a psychic and they'll have recommendations. Like, oh, you gotta go to Jessie. Jessie's the best in the industry, girl. You know how I got that house? You know how I got that house? Jessie. Like now it's a thing. And I don't really know how we made that switch or where we made the switch. I of course love that we made that switch. I've been down for all the things in this area. Did not talk about it openly. Definitely not. That's definitely, and I'm still kind of like, there's certain things I just don't want to talk about openly. But I'm like happy that it happened. I just don't know how we got here.
I mean, I think some of it has to do with our generation being and upcoming generations being some of the least religious.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily that people are less spiritual per se. I think in general people are always seeking something more and more definition and all that kind of stuff, the meaning of life.
Yeah.
As
If anything, though, I would say it feels like people get more spiritual, just less religious.
well, that's what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
by getting rid of or lessening the impact of a religion that was like, this is bad, this is evil, this is weird, this is because
Mm-hmm.
that was a big part of it. I think, at least I know when I was growing up, I feel like that was a big part of it, was like that's bad stuff because of Jesus. And even mild Christian households, I think, had a similar idea. But now that you have more and more people like kind of just challenging what they grew up with, but still also seeking something more, it's like, oh, what is this stuff all about?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit
Well,
accurate.
and then also, I think in regards to like astrology, we're also in an era of like self-discovery where people are really promoting self-discovery, know yourself. And a birth chart is like, boom, here is a map to me. This is
Mhm.
where you find my childhood trauma. Why do I suck at relationships? Pluto and Venus conjunct. Let's talk about it. Now, I think that also helps because, yeah, I think older generations, I know we had the like free love movement in the 70s and so forth, but I definitely think for the most part, more recent generations, that it was very much even though we like to say we're in America, we're an individualized culture, but we kind of have a collective think when it comes to, or previous generations definitely had a more collective thing when it came to things, and it was more about fitting in and conforming. And now we're like, I'm an individual. I'm so special. Look at the Scorpio moon. That's why I'm special. of course, I don't mean it that way. I know people aren't doing that. But I
Well,
think going back to wanting to be an individual and learning about self.
agreed. And you bringing up the 70s makes me think about, I think I heard someone else mentioning that, like, that was, or people who really dabble,
Hmm.
really being stuff, um,
Mm,
talking about that era being like a phase of awakening for people.
hmm.
You know, the
Hmm.
70s and the free love and shrooms and all that kind of stuff was
Yeah.
going, or psychedelics rather, all of that was going on. So that was also like there are people who mark that, and then like 2020,
Yeah. I can see
like
that.
major point of awakening.
I gotta figure out how to make my algorithm like yours. I need to
You're like, where are these conversations happening? Girl, on TikTok,
look.
be popping up.
Look, I told you, TikTok thinks I am a lesbian stud with ADHD or a gay white man in an interracial relationship. Like it can't decide, but like given the day I get on, I had so many strap jokes on my timeline this morning that I was like, I really think I'm a stud. TikTok, and I don't know what I'm liking to make them think that. And it may be I don't know. I don't know. I keep liking the stuff, so I keep
Right. That's why you keep getting it. There you have it.
like that. But the stuff I'm liking is just like a person happens to be a stud
Yeah.
telling a joke.
Right. You're
And
trying to
I'd be
support
like,
the
yeah,
creator.
yeah.
Right. That is so funny. That is so funny. Every time I come across, because like I told you, mine, I get a lot of like bisexual content or like this androgynous kind of looking woman. Like and so I'm like, I'll be like, I wonder if I send this to her and she like it can help her algorithm. So I
Look,
found
I
this out.
already be searching for stuff in my wheelhouse. And like, I'll like it, I'll save it, and then I'll come back to the For You page, and it's just like, do your Christian parents hate your brown skin partner? And I'm like, what the hell? Why is this back here? Why? And I keep going down to the bottom and clicking the little button to be like, please stop showing me this. Was just because I want to, not because I don't want it. I do want. It's funny, but like I want to add variety. So I'll be like, okay, this one I didn't really think
Right.
was funny, and maybe they'll give me other stuff, and they're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't know.
I just got lots of advertisements for like Timberlands and basketball shorts. It's very just whenever people are like, "Oh, TikTok made me try this," and I kept, and I'm like, "No, they just be showing me like lumberman boots, flannel outfits, and basketball shorts." Like I don't know,
That is
I
so
don't
funny.
know. But TikTok is just like you're not living your truth, girl.
TikTok found you out. That is hilarious.
Apparently, apparently,
My algorithms be talking about the awakenings,
yeah.
different weird stuff like that. But yeah, so I think yeah, people seeking
Hmm.
extra, seeking to know more than themselves and figure out why we are here and identify themselves. And people
That's
love
what.
to know about themselves and talk about themselves. So this just gives them another way to do it. And like you said, to carve out and be like, I'm unique because
Hmm.
I whoopie whoop. I can't even fake. I can't fake to know where my signs are at in the wherevers.
Oh, you know what? And I have your birth chart. We're gonna pull up your birth chart when we talk.
I so that's like my level of participation. I let you keep track of these
You
things for
do.
me and and let me know what's going on. And I'm just like, cool. Okay.
That is exactly your response. You'll be like, "Ugh, my car broke down," and I'll be like, "Girl, it's Mercury retrograde. Yeah, transportation." You're like, okay, okay, okay." So, anyways, my car. Which, speaking of, it was Mercury retrograde when your car broke down.
That makes
Yeah, it
well, my
doesn't.
car didn't necessarily break down, but
I mean, yeah,
my dog broke.
your dog did break. I think accidents and falls, communication issues, issues with transportation.
Shocked because I was trying to be proactive and responsible, and then my dog broke his jaw and took up any money or assistance that would have been used to fix my car. That's what happened. My car still got the same issues, just chug lugging along.
Mm. But yeah, so going along with that, okay, now we're having this resurgence. We're having people interested in it. So, and you kind of already mentioned, like, look, my level of understanding is like, yeah, astrology, and then give it to rest. She'll let me know when stuff is happening. But do you take astrology seriously? Like, is it just kind of parlor tricks for you? I know the answers to some of this, but do you subscribe to being an Aquarius? Like, where's your level of commitment?
I definitely don't think of it as parlor tricks.
Mhm.
But I don't really know how much like I definitely see things that I'm like, yep, that looks on brand, that makes sense. I've had enough experiences of things lining up with other stuff, and I've just had an interesting life in general before even hearing about some of these things to know that like I've always been a person who's like, yeah, I know there's more going on than like I can see or am aware of. So when I think of things like astrology, I feel like it's just like one key or like
Mhm.
one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's some truth and accuracy to it. I don't think it's, finite or anything because there's so many other things that we find out all the time. And it's like, ooh, here's another piece. Ooh, here's another piece.
Mhm.
So I think it's an interesting coding something that happened. I don't know.
So
So,
it has some validity. You're not necessarily messing with the code, but you believe it has some validity and it's a part of a larger system.
yeah, but yeah, no, I don't want to know too much. I've decided that. When you showed me what's that app pattern app,
Hmm.
which I know some people don't really
Yeah, it's
trust
horrible. Yeah.
during yeah, like oh once you really learn like it's not that great, but like it's too much. Like it is too much. So on pattern you can pick your like friends or your partner or whomever else and you can see
Mhm.
their stuff too and then it'll pop up and be like your boyfriend might be being stuck at communication this week because he's going through his moon and the stars or the whatever the hell. And I don't like this. I can do this. This just feels invasive. I just don't. It's too much for me. And
It's too much. I'm not mad at it. No, that makes sense just for who you are as a person. I think you as a person, you're very much an Aquarius. So I'm gonna throw that out there. But you as a person very much is someone who's just like, I think I want to find this out. No, that's too much. That's too much. Freedom. Just let stuff happen. Freedom, freedom, freedom. I'm going
yeah,
to be skipping over here and letting the universe just happen to me. So that makes sense to me. You have moments
yeah.
of like, I really would like to know this thing. And then the minute you know, you're like, maybe I should have done that.
Cause what I'm gonna do? I can't do nothing. I think that's why. Because it's just like, okay, so now I know, and now I'm just anxious, or now I'm just whatever has come out of this new information, and it's just like I could have just I could have just sat back and just seen what happened. Why did I have to get this involved in this here? Or I guess the other thing, because I'm not as interested in taking the time to really like study the like different things and stuff. So I'm like, if the universe need to know something, I'm gonna need you to just tell me.
I don't think that's I don't think that's
I
how
know,
like
I know.
works.
I know, and it's so like, even when I was Christian, I used to say the same thing. I'd be like, I'm gonna need God to materialize and let me know what I need to know. Like, I don't have time. I couldn't stand to be at church and somebody be like, the Lord told me to tell you why. Why is he talking to everybody else?
He has my direct line. I don't understand why he could have just called me.
Jesus, the
Why would he tell
man,
me? Why? Why is Jesus going through people to talk to me?
nothing there. So maybe that's some of my own shit from somewhere else that I need to figure out. But yeah, I have a thing about that. It's just like, oh, you gonna tell this lady about this epic quest I'm supposed to go on and just
My hero's journey.
how would I have known I needed to break this if I just didn't happen to have but I guess it's all part of the
I was supposed to chill and get margaritas on Sunday. Now I gotta break a generational curse. I didn't need to know that.
I pendulum swing. Yeah, and I do that, and I think all my philosophies in life swing from like, oh, everything is connected and divine and wonderful to we are an insignificant speck of dust.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so depending on where I am
So
within.
Ashley is Aquarius sun, guys. If you were confused what that was, that's what that was.
So what about you? I mean, we know that you dib and dab, but
Yeah. No, I take astrology seriously. I went through my phases, you find about it, you're like, I like this. I kind of relate to this. This is cool. This is going to solve all my answers. And being like, and then just ebb and flows. And then now I'm just at a point where I'm like, I think it's a really good tool for self-discovery. Versus, I think when I started, I was like, tell me the future so I can prepare, so I can control it. And yeah, uh, I'm not there anymore. Now I'm more like, I think it's a great tool for self-discovery, and I study it sort of, but not like in the way I would like to. I want to be very clear. So like, if you come up to me and you're like, yeah, the transit for blah blah blah, and try to start talking, I'm gonna still look at you like I'm stupid because like I have ADHD, so I study like 8 things at once. And sometimes studying it looks like me picking it up, being really into that book for like that week, and then forgetting I have it for a year. Like, so we're still very much a beginner. But yes, I got a small Pluto symbol, and I also have a Scorpio moon tattoo. So yes, I am into astrology. But for me, just going back to that, I think because I like doing emotional deep diving. And I think with astrology, you can do that. It is a tool to do that. And so for me, it like again with like my tattoos, those were a thing for me because for me, the symbol symbolizes something deeper. Like even if we don't have astrology, this is what this symbol, Scorpio moon symbolizes deep water, emotionally type feelings. It just symbolizes blah 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 blah. So I really like it for the symbolism aspect of it.
yeah. And like you said, it is a good tool for learn because people like in the way you've kind of gone about it too, it's like, oh, I learned about this thing, and then it does kind of challenge you to look just deeper
Mm-hmm.
in general because you'll come across something and it's like, oh, this means that what? Oh, like, and it causes all
Mm-hmm.
this self-reflection of like self-reflection of what could that mean? What does that mean to me?
Yeah.
And it can send you on this whole journey.
It really, really, really can. And I will say, like, I do take it seriously because one thing I will say, anytime I have ever done a synastry chart, they have been dead on. Like, I remember I was looking and I was like using some web app to help me like figure out what aspects mean. But I was looking at like a chart of this person I was in a long-term relationship with, and it was like, this person keep trying to work out mother issues by using you as a surrogate. You needed like you bring up a lot of mother stuff for them. And it was just like it had a whole bunch of stuff that I was just like, yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. That would have been great to know. Now, do I use it now for future stuff? No. Like not to be a map for the relationship. You shouldn't be like, yes, because of this, we're definitely gonna get married. No, like you can have aspects and they mean great stuff, and I'm still for that. Like, yes, and yeah, no, I know what that is with him. That's awesome. But I think when people try to use it more as a predictive tool, you got to be careful about that. And so I'm not for using it to hold on to things and be like, no, trying to force certain things into existence or the universe or whatever. But I do think it's a great tool.
I was gonna say it doesn't even make sense to try to force it. I feel like see that's what I mean. Like big picture when you look at it's like stuff fit whether you know it or not, whether you're trying to make it fit or not. So like don't like beat your head against the wall
Hmm.
trying to make some plan work.
Hmm. No, I'm definitely with that. Like, if things are supposed to, yeah, yeah. So I do, but I brought that up to say, like, I really don't fuck with apps. There's certain websites I love and I use, but I don't like the apps, but I used to. I used to be really, like you said, I think I was the one that sent you patterns. Like, oh, check this out. But I just evolved for that again. Like you said, kind of read more, learned more, then realized those were trash. And like you said, also, it could create this kind of like, you now I have to check pattern every morning before I get up.
Hmm.
And it says I'm gonna have a bad day. Well, damn, I was feeling really good. I wonder what's gonna happen. Now I'm anxious because this thing is gonna happen. And I didn't really like that. And I like, and again, I am someone who is actively fighting the urge to not like control. So it's really hard for me to even get there. But like that part of it, like, no, some things is just, yeah, I don't want to feel like something is determining my moods and how I'm showing up. So, but I think it's fun for just people who take it lightly and getting people into it. Because I think the pattern also definitely why people are on lockdown. I know, at least for me, several of my friends that like did not care now are very much like, oh, it's a full moon tonight. And I'm just like, yeah, girl, go get those crystals. Like,
I've definitely always cared for the moon. I don't see how you can't pay the moon attention when it
so
pulls the
mellow.
tides and we are made up of mostly water and it just
Mhm.
makes sense that it impacts us.
Yeah, no, I love them. I love them very much. But I meant more so like, yeah, now there's people who, yeah, locked down and the pattern had them like, okay, well now I'm gonna figure out my moon sign and my Venus. I would like to know my moon and my Venus. So yes, I do. I am. That's a long way of saying I am into astrology.
I think the interesting or like fun things are when I hear this stuff about like, oh, this celebrity's album came out on this day in their
Okay,
birth.
so no, I'm really into that. No, 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 no. You're not gonna talk about that because there are
I'm
some
not.
who
That's
I
I'm saying
know.
that's fun. Like that's
Oh, okay.
interesting. No, I'm not saying that's negative. I'm like that's one of the things. Like whenever you tell me, I'm like, well, that is fascinating.
Yeah,
They could
girl.
be something.
Me and you had a conversation recently where I was like talking about this quote I saw where they were like, rich people tell the poor to work hard and save, meanwhile they got astrologists or astrologies or something like that.
Something like millionaires use
Let me see.
something and millionaires use astrology.
And it goes, millionaires don't need astrologers, but billionaires do.
Mhm.
And we were talking about that, and like I went on this whole rant of like, yeah, no, 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 because this person definitely uses astrology. When they look what's happening in his chart when this happens. And this person definitely look, she did this, and it was specifically on this day. Don't nobody drop on this day. Why would she drop on this day? Boom, because Jupiter is hitting her 10th house. And he was just, yeah, and I just went through that whole thing.
Can y'all pull Beyonce chart and figure out
When
where
this album will drop.
of the album is? Like part two, part three. Where are the visuals?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
no.
it's not the plan, but somebody knows. Can the people get on it?
Yeah, no, no, really. Because I had a thought this week where I was like just jamming, listening to the music, and I was like, there's supposed to be more. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. There was supposed to be more. Yeah.
Look, see what happened.
I'm not about to pull that woman's chart.
We probably don't even have a real birthday. She don't want y'all meddling in her business. She's so private. She's like, I don't need them people to know.
No, no, you guys. If I became famous, I'm giving y'all my birth time. I want to be able to go on YouTube and have people do my chart for free. I want to be able to Google my name, just be like, rest astrology. Be like, hey, look at all these people doing it for free.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't really mess with the apps. There's websites and stuff. I actually did take astrology class and it was like horrible. It was horrible. It was $500 and it was horrible. I was very, very mad about it. But one of the perks of it was that I got a lot of free not free. I paid that man $500. But like he sent a lot of astrology books to me.
Okay.
And I found those like super, super useful. But I will say though, we're starting to get the men on board because for a long time it was just like the women were into it. And now I will say, like, I have seen, like, when I was on apps, I would see on the app, like, guys like, yo, big Cancer guy here, Libra moon, save the world. And like, it used to be a thing where we had to like tell them, like, boy, text your mama, ask her to send your birth certificate. We went from that to them being like having it on their profile, to them like
I,
Asking you on the first date, teasing you on the first date, like, oh, so you a Gemini. Interesting.
yeah, I guess I've seen it somewhere. I don't know. I see. I'm like, I was sitting here, there. I'm like, have I come across these men? I don't. I mean, I've come across men who know their sign, and that's that. I don't know if they know much about what it means unless some girl told them. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely was coming across a lot that like at least knew their big three. Like they knew their sun, their moon, their rising. They knew they did not like Geminis. Like they knew some stuff. They had some things. The Gemini hate crosses both genders. They are not well respected in these streets.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
hmm People don't like us.
I feel like it's always my sign taking heat for no
Girl,
good reason.
don't nobody care about teasing Aquarius but me. Like,
No, it be people. Like they'll draw a chart or something, and it's always like, I don't know why. I always think about this chart that I saw that had like a body, and then for each sign, it had like where the heart was, and then the
mhm.
Aquarius had no heart. And I was like, why must y'all always paint us?
It's the men. It's the men. It's not the women. All the Aquarius women I know are like some of the most loving, forgiving, like I want to, type people I know. It's the men though. But also I'm gonna say also for Gemini, it might just be men, in general. But with Geminis, like whenever people like, I don't like Geminis, and I'm like, why? It's always a man.
Mhm. And that is true.
And
There is definitely a difference between the male and female, the genders in the there is this difference between the male and female version of these signs because you're right. While I have not gotten again super deep into stuff, I do know that Aquarius men and I should not be together.
no,
Um,
same.
I've done that a couple times, and both times it was pretty freaking disastrous. Even a basic Google search says that two Aquarians ain't got no business together because, well, basically what it says is like this could be really, really great, or it could be really, really terrible. You can either both be so free that you damn near forget about each other, or you can drive each other crazy and just be toxic. And
Mhm.
it's been fascinating.
I'm a Gemini and I'm supposed to get along with Aquarius, and I do. But it always ends horribly. But I will say, I had a beef with air sign men in general, but particularly Aquarius. And it was because there was a 5-year period in my life where the universe only wanted me to date Gemini and Aquarius men. Like for 5 years, y'all, every single man that I was meeting was a Gemini or Aquarius. And it was exhausting. It was very exhausting. But I will say, one thing I noticed though, like my interactions with Aquarius is not even so much about them as it is about me. And that's because I have the same exact experience with them. And the same thing with Gemini men, my experience has always been like a breath of fresh air. Like when they come into my life or I've had relationships with them, it is like a fun, energetic, just like shake up that I needed type of situation. But with Aquarius, I also have a pattern. And it's like, I know when Aquarius male entered my life, it means the universe is like, okay, enough of that fun shit. You got to do some shadow work. You got to do some shadow work. Like that's the only reason why. What always happens is that I meet them and we like each other. We're like, oh, this is fun. This is great. This is awesome. And then one day I just wake up and I'm like, I don't think I like you as a human being. I'm like pretty sure I don't even like you as a creature of God. I I am noticing some things and I am but my reaction to them always bring out a side of me that I was not very much aware of that I need to get rid of. Like it's like every single time one of y'all Aquarius side just sneak their way into my life. Uh that what happens, yeah, like it's a good, and then it reveals like a very negative, dark side of me that I'm always like, that's not there. And I think because and it's always been there in my life, manifesting subtly was something about Aquarius men. make that monster come out big and scary and like to a point that I'm like, oh, after whatever it is that's going on with them, I'm have to sit myself and I'm like, I don't like that somebody could make me do that or bring that out of me. And
Mhm.
then yeah, fun time's over. Now it's 6 months of shadow work, reading, introspection, meditation and bullshit. At least when Gemini men come with a bullshit, it's fun. It's fun bullshit that we both can like high five, see you later about.
I don't know that I have any particular patterns with signs other than, like I said,
That you don't like Aquarius, man.
it's not. Hey, yeah, it's just not a. Just doesn't seem like a good idea. I don't even want to ask folks mine no more. Think if I hear that, I'm just already kind of like,
No, I gotta exercise. I gotta exercise. I'm not. I gotta figure it out. I wouldn't know. Before our first date, I have to know what your sun sign is. Like, I have to know. By date number three, if you need to call mama, but we gonna find out what your big three are.
what else was that? No, that's one of those things that kind of adds a little bit more validity to it at times, where you're like, here is literally a trend I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way. And sometimes I'll even like look at other things about other signs just to be sure. Because this is one thing I wonder. On
Mhm.
some level, you can almost form like confirmation bias, especially if you only ever look at your sign. You're like, yeah, because if you if especially if you're keeping things kind of surface, I say,
Mhm.
you're like, it's like, oh, these are qualities that sound great. Yeah, of course,
Mhm.
that's me. Sounds exactly like me. And I'm not looking at all the other ones to see what sorts of wonderful complimentary things they're saying about them
Mhm.
that might also suit me as well. I don't know. Anyway, but when you look at other ones and stuff, and you really can be like, I can
Mhm.
see those similarities. It is quite something. It's quite something.
I got a whole pattern. I got a whole pattern. But yeah, that's why also like with synastry charts, like again, I remember I looked up my longest relationship. I looked at our synastry between our two birth charts, like the compatibility, and it was like dead on. And that's not to say there weren't certain parts that I was like, I don't know if I really felt that. But there was like a lot of aspects. There was a lot of stuff that I was just like, yeah, no, that's kind of I wouldn't have even interpreted it in that way unless someone said it to me in that way. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. I remember there was someone, we had a lot of like North Node, South Node, Chiron. Those are like have to do with destiny and healing and wounds or whatever. We had a lot of that type of aspect stuff going on. And it was crazy because that was probably my most like emotionally charged relationship that resulted in a lot of growth. And it was one of those relationships where it really felt like, oh, I was supposed to meet you specifically for this reason. And once that reason happened, there was nothing hold like literally whatever spell we were both under was broken.
Mhm.
And yeah, like cosmic stuff. Destined. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. I like when I see stuff like that. I like when I see the little synchronicities. But I will say there still are, people out there who are like, oh, what's your sign? They're like, oh, you don't like that shit? You believe in that? I refuse to learn mine.
Yeah, I actually saw someone like, of course, on TikTok on the social news network where they were talking about how she was basically making the point of how somebody responds to that. It's like you can tell a lot about a man. Like, so you don't have to be so defensive. You can
Mhm.
just be like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't interest me." But then she was saying like basically, if you come across men who are so like that stuff is stupid and are like more defensive about it, they're usually a jerk or
Mhm.
something. Like, yeah, not the kind of not open to ideas, don't like that girly stuff, like that kind of
Mhm.
guy.
Because there's a way you can be like, no, I'm good. You can just be like, I'm not into that. But it's the ones who are like, oh, that's so stupid. You believe that? But also that goes back to I'm just not into people who try to force me into their beliefs. Like and their ideals. Because it's almost like they want you to either agree with them or get confrontational with them as well. But I know I did have a girlfriend who it's so funny because she's not even into astrology like that. But she's just like, oh, just one of those, what's your sun sign? And then that's it. And then she's gonna talk about tacos.
Mhm.
And did that and like had this guy react to her in that way. And she was like, now he got me defending stuff that I don't know nothing about. And I'm just throwing out science names. Like AX-19 is the asteroid for, and I was like, girl, why did you?
I'm not doing all that. But yeah, you don't have to respond that way when people express interest. But also, I've seen more so. There's more so guys that are like, "Ooh, so what does my sign say?" That'll show some halfway interest. I think the reality of it is, if you meet someone and they're more willing to shut down something that you're obviously excited about on a first date
Yeah.
or new dating situation, that maybe no, just simply based off of that.
So, but okay, while we're still on dating, let me ask though, would you shut down somebody just because of their sign?
No. I would shut somebody down based on their sign. I don't have any reason to do that.
You know what, girl? Good for you. Good for because I cannot say the same. I cannot say the same, y'all. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish I could be so emotionally evolved. I'm just not there yet because I very much there's definitely certain things I could see in y'all chart. There's very certain things. And look, I'm not good at charts. Don't ask me nothing about charts. I am very basic level. I will look up some stuff. I got a friend I can get into it, and there's certain stuff I'll see, and I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Like, I don't care how anyone feels about that. There is very much certain things that I'm automatically like, yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I know it doesn't have to be all the time, but I am so scarred from that experience that, yeah, no, I'm swearing off all of that forever. So I definitely have that. And I feel so emotionally immature saying that, but it's a thing. I've had too many life experiences for me to sit up here and act like it's not a thing and just ignore what history has taught me.
All the things that I use to exclude someone. That's not one of them.
Okay.
Or include rather.
I definitely have my exclusion list, and I stand by that list. But I don't have one for inclusion just because I feel like when it comes to like light compatibility, all that stuff, it's so much more complex than to be able to say, oh, their sun sign is a, Capricorn. It's gonna go great. Like, no, that you got a whole chart, you got a whole everything else. And then also, again, just because things show up one way does not mean that's how they'll manifest in reality. You can have two charts where it's like everything looks good and everything is like favorable and whatever, whatever. And the reality of it is all that favorability and stuff makes it boring, makes it a relationship you don't grow in, makes it a blah blah blah. So I don't believe in like the exclusion. There's no certain sign that you can like, I'm this and I'm gonna get excited about. But there are some that will have you blocked.
I do I do believe that I want to be with someone who's into some type. You got to be, I think, on some level into the spiritual shit. I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth with myself on like how much I want somebody to. I mean, I'm not can't make somebody care about certain things, but I don't want to feel. I guess
You don't want to have to feel like you have to hide your stuff.
exactly. I don't want to feel weird if I'm like, because I do get on
But be
different
weird
kicks where
together.
huh?
You want somebody that can be weird together.
Right. Like I do get on different kicks where I'm exploring my spirituality in so many different ways. And I pause and have moments where I'm like, man, if I was for real, with somebody right now, like what would this experience look
Yeah.
like? Like would I be able to talk to them about this? Or like would I feel comfortable doing my morning meditation right here in my bedroom if someone was here?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Like, so I don't want to feel weird about those things. And I don't know. Yeah, that's really, I guess, more it. Not necessarily like, oh, you got to do what I do, but how cool would it be if you did?
Mm-hmm.
How cool would it be if they did?
Yeah,
But
no.
not be uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, that's something I was thinking about last year heavily. Because last year I was like real heavy on the like not dating, not talking to nobody. But it came up a lot because I was like, dang, you kind of been having a really wild year spiritually. Well, what this has looked like though, if you were dating somebody. Because I think even with you, there was times where me and you were talking. I think even last week I just said this to you, where I'm just like, girl, it's been some wild stuff going on. I can't explain it all yet because you're gonna think I'm going crazy. But and even you, even like one of my other homegirls, Gabby, like some of y'all are like, y'all with the spiritual shit. Y'all be like, oh yes, let's talk about it. This thing that sounds impossible. No, 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 no. Send it to me. I want to read it as well. And even with y'all, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, yeah, just stuff is happening. Just know stuff is happening, and I leave it there. And so I'm like, and y'all, y'all, some of the closest people to me, and so I'm like, dang. But if you're with somebody and you're like with somebody, like I gotta come home to you. So it's not like I'm like, "Ugh, okay, I guess I'll put these crystals out at my house when I get home later. Like, no, he's there too. What would that look like? And yeah, that's big for me too. That's a big thing on my list of like, no, I want to feel comfortable. I want to be able to talk about my spirituality, talk about different things I'm exploring, talk about different things I'm experiencing without feeling the need to cut it down for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bonus points for again, like if you know something I don't, if you can add something to this.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And mm, mm, love me a talkative, inquisitive king. Let me know what you randomly found out about on TikTok. Let's talk about it.
Send me down that rabbit hole. What?
Right, right. So with that said, then, so what exactly do you use though astrology for then? You just know it, just to know.
Yeah, I get, yeah, and I mean, but to say that I know, I think
Mm,
is a large step because I don't
mm.
think that I know much. Is what I'm saying. I don't, because when I think like when you and I have conversations even about spirituality things, I think of like I want to be grounded. I don't want
Yeah.
to look up as much. I don't want to. You get not don't want to look up, but like I feel like you're like the stars have the answers, and I'm like, but if you connect to the earth, you know, like I don't think either is wrong or right.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think that's why it's like, yeah, it's there. It's a piece of the puzzle. It's a part. Like,
Mhm.
I think that's why that's how I feel about it because I do spend more of my time trying to be like, I'm trying to connect in the earth to the like in these other kind of ways.
I'm
Does
about to
that
pull
make
up your
sense?
birth chart. Hold on.
But yeah, that's where I spend my time. Like in the and it's funny because we have plenty of practices that overlaps. Like we both, spend time meditating and reading different things. But like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm reading the Gita. And I've like read a book of prayers or like, and you're like, I've read this book on a chakra. I'm like, I'm reading about chakras. Like we're
Mhm.
in like different, and that's what I'm saying. I just feel like you give this piece, I'm gonna get a piece. We're gonna put all the
We're
pieces
gonna have
together,
all the pieces. I'm here for it.
and then we're gonna unlock the universe.
I'm here for it. I am here for it.
In general, though, even when I think of astrology and stuff, and people who really spend their time in it, I'm like, yes, we're so close. We're gonna figure
We
that
could
thing.
just all together.
It's just like boop boop boop. You're in a giant computer. Yeah, but we're close.
We're getting close. Yeah, no, I know now people are like the thing is human design, and I'm just done with systems to learn to help me learn about myself. Psychology and astrology, some other stuff, we're good there. I'm very good there. But yeah, I know people are getting into human design, and I'm just I want no parts. And it's weird because that should be up my alley, but I want no parts. I've picked my stuff, and anything else is too much for me right
And
now.
see, I be in that stuff like, oh, we going into 4D? Which D are we in now? We're in the third D, the third density. I
I'm
remember some,
still trying to figure out that. I'm still trying to figure that out because
that's where
that
I
gets brought
be.
up, and I'd be like, "Yeah, man, yeah, like I'm down. I don't know, I don't know what it means, but I'm down for it."
That's what my algorithm shows me.
That's the
The grand algorithm. No, that's where I be at. I'm like, what you mean? The dimensions.
I'm jealous. Yeah, no, no. My algorithm is showing me special backpacks, basketball shorts, chargers, and then stuff about how to break it to your racist family that you're in love with a black or Latino man. So like that's just and skits, just ADHD. That's the one that they got right, by the way. That's the only one they got right. And I'm just like, yeah, I do that. And the other ones, I'm just like, no, this is so funny. I don't know how we got here, but I like it. I'll stay. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's just different access points somehow. Because I find those things that I'm like, ooh,
Mhm.
going into different dimensions. We're doing what that mean? And then you'll pop up somewhere and be like, spirit babies. And I'm like, and I'm like, yes, because these fourth density beings here, see what I'm saying? It connects. We
You guys,
always
and this is a real conversation we had. This is a real because I was like, because I don't know how we got it, but I was like, I'm trying to figure out what in real spirit babies are. I was like, I'm trying to, I don't know, and then you definitely went on it like, yeah, no, 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 because I'm gonna send you this video.
yeah.
We gonna
So
put the pieces together, y'all. We're gonna put them together.
it's all connected.
But I will say, you mentioned this earlier about confirmation bias. I definitely have had those moments too, where I'm like looking up something and I'm just like, this is telling me I'm special too much. I think this might, and I wonder, like, where are you? I feel like now I'm leading myself somewhere because this is telling me I'm a very special person, and yeah, I still don't know if I'm supposed to put on the heat or the cold air when it's raining and you're driving, and so I just, I can't. It says I'm gonna save the universe. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I forgot to turn in my report for work on the right day last week. A universe seems like too much for me to handle.
So you also spend time on some of like well when you're like looking up stuff of like
Mhm.
people talking about things on like Reddit.
Yeah.
And so do you see a lot of that? Of people just like I mean just like trying to I don't know fulfill a prophecy with their like chart like trying to
Chosen
make
one.
call.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing that you see. So there was like a Reddit forum that I used to follow that was astrology one that I had to just like unfollow because it like every day it was just people like, am I chosen for greatness? Could somebody let me know? I feel I'm mighty special. Could someone confirm that for me? And it was just like every day, it was just a lot of those threads. Yeah.
All chosen for greatness.
Nah, not some of y'all that was not chosen. That was some of y'all y'all was the child that was left behind. And I
Yeah.
don't want to lie about
Oh my gosh. I'm still cracking up as you say about this is saying I'm too special.
it.
But that's all, even like that's what I mean by even getting a reading or something sometimes you'd be like, I'm gonna do what? After that? And you're like, oh, you're gonna make this big change. You feel a lot, man. You feel
It'd
a
be
lot.
a lot. It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot. Yeah, yeah. Too good of things like that scare me and make me be like, you know what?
Mhm.
I messed up somewhere because it shouldn't be saying this. It shouldn't say this. It shouldn't be this nice to me. I sit with myself and I'm not that great.
But you know what?
Mhm.
That just made something else kind of click for me. I was watching just a clip. I don't know. I was listening to a podcast that someone was
Mhm.
talking about manifesting.
Mhm.
And in the social media clip, like the clip I saw on Instagram, and then I went and listened to the whole episode. But the clip I saw on Instagram, she was saying that you can't manifest something that's like has nothing to do with you. That's like completely out of your wheelhouse, basically.
Mm.
And that fucking makes sense, right? Like if it's alignment with like your greatest good, sure, you can have that. But if it don't have nothing to do with what you're doing, you can't just pull it out of wherever the hell. Basically, is what she was saying. But
Mhm.
people in the comments were like, no, because have you ever heard of The Secret? You manifest anything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that talk, but you saying that of just like it, I guess it clicks of like it has to resonate. It has to make it has to make sense. I know it don't have to make sense in the way of like, yes, we find out these things or get reading stuff and it's like it doesn't make sense. It's in this big grand plan, but like it still has to align. It aligns in some way.
Mhm.
can't just pull from the other side of the universe and bring. I don't know that you can do that.
I don't know. I don't know, ma'am. Mm.
You can't just make yourself the chosen one. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you can't like I guess I'm thinking of people in like self-fulfilling part. Like, yeah, you can read and interpret these things this way to try to make yourself
And
this.
that's the thing. It's an interpretation.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead. But I'm just saying, like, no,
Yeah, I was just saying
let's
like
highlight that point.
right, like you can read it, interpret how you want, make yourself this whatever.
Hmm.
But if it's not, if that's not, it's that ain't what it says. If that's not within your wheelhouse, that's not what's gonna happen. Or,
Hmm.
but I think that's also why we dream up things happening a certain way based off of the information we got,
Hmm.
and it doesn't happen that way. It happens this other way because that
Hmm.
this up here is not within. This is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that confirmation bias will have you interpreting things a certain way just to confirm your own things. Even if there's like 12 different ways that this word can manifest and mean, it will change completely the outcome. For some people, they're always going to choose the thing that, again, confirms what they already want to believe. I definitely agree with that. I do think, though, one of the things we were talking about earlier, the quote, millionaires don't use astrologers, billionaires do. I definitely think it is something that is used in a wider way than we believe, though. I definitely know of folks who, like, legit have used it financially and made their shit pop. I definitely think people in positions of power definitely use it. I know that was a big thing that came out with Reagan, that like he had a personal astrologer from the White House, which made sense because he was thoroughly unqualified for that job, playing in westerns, and then y'all decided to give him the White House. Somebody do a deep dive into Trump's because I'm sure it's a similar thing happening there. But yeah, I do think it's definitely being used.
No, right. I I believe that. I believe that, and I think that's why I'm also so fascinated by those celebrity reading ones. Like I'm just, or even when it's like this war is going, because yeah,
Mhm.
somebody with the resources to know things that I don't even, I can't even fathom.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that's a very fascinating point to be in, but also it might be stressful. No.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I again, me and you have very different outlooks on this because you look at having future advanced knowledge as like, anxiety. Yeah, what can I do with it? Blah blah. And I use it like a resource of like, yes, because if I have that, I can prepare.
I'm like ready. I stay ready, so I ain't gotta get ready.
Shut
But
up.
but no, I'm not. I don't need all that. I don't. That's not the. Yeah.
Need all that information now. I definitely am in a point of like information overboard right now. But usually I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. I don't want to be bombarded with it every morning. I don't want to be, trying to figure out what's going to happen today. Definitely don't want to be there, but I definitely like I love getting um, you know,
Hmm.
but I mean, and I think that goes back to though, if you are going to be like, okay, I want to get into astrology, I want to get into all types of spiritual stuff, to be honest with you, check the source because there's a lot of people out here who have no idea what they're talking about and they still want to talk and they want to be paid to do it and they just taking y'all monies. And I want that to stop happening for y'all. There are some people who are good. It's real. I definitely think there's, anyways, it's real. But I think you have to find the right source, and even with studying, I know I've come across books on the same topic saying the complete opposite things. And I'm like, and they're both published and they both got 4.5 stars on Amazon. So you have to like check in with your source.
Then
Hmm.
you'll end up spending unnecessary money for somebody to lie to you. You know, you're more susceptible, I think.
Hmm. And I think also, that again, going back to that confirmation bias being, oh, is everything they're saying good? Are they
Mm.
saying like, yeah, no, your chart says you're amazing, you're a star, you have so much talent. Has anyone else ever told you you were talented? Like, let's just okay,
People are talented and they don't know it yet.
all right, all right, all right. That's that Aquarius shit. Uh, but there could be confirmation bias in that as well, of like, yeah, I'm just going to this particular source because they're always telling me what I want to hear. They're always telling me things that make me feel good and favorable, that make me feel special. And like there should be some other stuff in there.
Again, does it resonate? Does anything actually click? Or do you just want it to? Because that's
Okay, all right. Okay. No, because I was gonna say like, well, but sometimes it clicked and it shouldn't, like, because it just again that confirmation bias. Like, yes, I've always felt special. They're telling me this, so this is, yeah, no, resonates.
from my experience, I think you're supposed to leave every reading probably a little bit relieved and a little bit scared.
Y'all, please don't listen to Ashley.
No,
She just be
no,
having,
listen.
she be having very interesting things happening in her life. That is your experience. That is not everybody's experience.
Not, and I don't mean scared in a entirely in a fearful way, but in an
You have called
unexpected.
me in fearful ways, though. You have definitely
It has
had that,
happened.
like,
It
it's
has
happened.
happened. But when I say that in general, I do mean like a unexpected, because it can be this like, what you mean, just the just so I think, yeah, a little bit like I'm scared. I'm like, all that? That's what you mean? That's kind of, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, kind of thing. But not necessarily in a bad, but yeah, just a little bit scared, but also relieved because you probably heard something you needed to hear. I know my first reading, that was my experience. I felt like I really heard things, yeah, that I needed to hear. And then, of course, you leave it kind of, well, me, I left kind of second, like, she just told me what. But now she told me a lot
Mm-hmm.
that did resonate. And that's why I say, when I say what I needed to hear, it resonated. I didn't say anything to that lady.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything other than pay her the money and come. I didn't tell her nothing about me. I didn't tell her anything about like what I wanted to know. Nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
she just
Mm-hmm.
just did her thing. And yeah, I left there relieved and a little bit scared.
Yes, that is your very specific experience. I would say the first time I actually got into like going back to astrology, when I read my chart, it had me as more talkative, more outgoing, more of a person who is not afraid to like have conversations, more community oriented, more of who I am today. And when I read it back then, I was not that at all. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about this astrology stuff. Because at that time, I was definitely like, I had anxiety raising my hand in class type. Like, so to like look into that, I was like, that's not, and it wasn't one of those like, and now I'm trying to force this into being because that was my worst fear. Like, no, I don't want to do that. None of that sounds great. And now when I look at it, I'm like, no, that's exactly that fits and that feels like who I am and who I'm becoming.
Mhm.
So, Ashley, do you know what your big three are?
No, I'll write them down.
Mm. So you are Aquarius, Sagittarius.
Great.
But your chiron's in Cancer, which is very fascinating. Where's your where's Cancer in your chart? It's your eighth house. Well, it starts in your seventh house. Your chiron's in your seventh house. Hmm. I'll talk to you about that afterwards. Yeah, so those are yours. But I only have my son is the only thing in Gemini, and I actually, as the years gone on, been feeling way more Scorpio-ish, which is my moon sign, and my moon aspects everything, and it's conjunct my Pluto, which means my Pluto aspects everything, and Pluto is also very scorpionic. And I feel weird saying that because I posted something once on my personal Instagram, and it was like about Scorpios, and someone told me I was a self-hating Gemini, and I took that very seriously. Because I was like, no, my moon is in Scorpio and I'm just connecting with it and I'm reading this book on it and blah, 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 blah. And they're just like, you are a self hating Gemini. I just want you to know that. Yeah, it hurt my little feelings. But I will say, with all that we have going on now, we are at a stage where astrology books, knowledge, information is readily available, whether it's on YouTube, podcasts, TikTok. I think it's kind of cool that we are at this stage in point in time where people can just learn it. It can be something, if you're interested in it, it's not something that you will have to go to a special bookstore for and seek a special magi for it. Now it's like commonplace and you can just get into it if you want to. And I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's anything bad. I think it's good. I love that more knowledge is just becoming available in general,
Yeah.
that we are now in a space where people are open to exploring new things or old ideas are becoming mainstream again. And I think that's dope.
Yes, I agree with you. I think the more and more avenues that I mean, that could potentially be a dangerous statement. But I think the more avenues that we open up for people to explore things in different ways, explore themselves in different ways, like understand things about the world in other ways, like that it's good. Things that because you mentioned like it's a great starting point for a deep dive. And I
Hmm.
think that that's great. The more that we
Yeah.
prompt people to do that, the faster we'll get to the fourth density. And
Actually, what is the fourth density? Break it down for us.
I can break it
We want
down.
to be part of the collective.
I
Break
can't
it
break it
down.
down. Yeah, it's the Earth's level of density. There are certain densities where certain things are capable and possible. Like we can't do magic. Like we can't do certain shit. Like I don't know, because I don't know what the next dimension, the next density has. But in there, we're supposedly less dense. It's
Yeah.
less. I don't know how to explain.
I
It's yeah. So it's
mhm.
does that make
No, it doesn't. It's above me though. It's above me. I want to be there. I want to be there with you so bad, but I'm not comprehending. Send me a TikTok.
basically like the Earth has to get to a certain phase in order
Level
for
of consciousness?
yes, in order
Okay.
for us to be able to get to that place and be able to function and receive the gifts that come along with that.
Okay.
Aren't necessarily gonna just, I don't believe per se, just become endowed with abilities, but people being born in that new phase could potentially be coming in with new
I don't know. I believe I'm very magical. So, I mean, there
I
goes
mean,
your theory.
shit,
There goes
possible.
your theory. I don't know. I feel like I just proved your theory
I
wrong,
mean, shit,
Ashley.
I'm just saying. And so, yeah, it's not, yeah, I'm not
I got
adept
all
enough
types
to
of magical powers, though. And the frequencies.
basically,
Higher
yeah,
level. Okay.
yeah,
See, if
yeah.
they just said it like that, that was
But enough of us gotta get it. Just does. It's not just. That's why there's these turning points of
mhm.
like kind of decision making and things, and it's kind of like, well, which way is our collective consciousness gonna go? Are we
Yeah.
gonna move to a place where we can continue to progress and seek knowledge, or are we gonna be held back by our bullshit and keep us all status quo? And like, and when people talk about it, they talk about it on kind of a worldview level of like when we
Hmm.
have opportunities to do these things that are good and move us forward, do we take them or do we get stuck? And so
Hmm.
especially recently, and maybe it's, and sometimes I question if that's a very American centered kind of thing.
Hmm.
But people say they're looking at everything, so but like when there's so much friction and so much like, like every few years we have such these huge where it just feels like we're just arguing
Hmm.
constantly when we can't figure out how to agree. And so, yeah, those types of moments where if we get to a point where we can, enough of us get to the other side, then we continue to raise the
So
consciousness.
there's a few of y'all holding us all back,
Oh, most definitely.
trying
At
to
least
delay.
and making it real heavy.
Y'all delaying something that just has to happen.
We could have been here a while ago,
We could have
probably.
been here. We could have been here. Have the freaking tower moment
Hmm.
so we can be where we're supposed to be. You're
Hmm.
ruining it for everybody.
Hmm.
Okay.
Anything that keeps us stagnant, we should not be. We isn't a my quick.
Yeah, so I do think I'm grateful for that. Like this type of stuff is becoming more available. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. You don't have to use it. There's other stuff. Or there's nothing at all. You can maybe not want to know anything about anything, and that's fine too. But I do think it's a good thing because even past astrology, even past the spiritual shit, I'm for open knowledge. I'm for giving the masses opportunity to learn new things and seeing what we can do with that information. Some of y'all do very scary things with that fucking information, and it should be hidden from y'all. But I think more good comes from it than bad. And so I'm for it. And that is all we're talking about today on today's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. Well, you can reach us if you need to contact us outside of Instagram. You can reach us at She Wolf Alchemy Podcast at gmail.com. And as always, we're having an episode on Sunday. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.